Welcome back, all of my beautiful freaking people, to another episode of FML Talk. It has been a minute since we have given you some tea. And today's episode, y'all, is not going to disappoint. We did not bring you a teacup. We brought you the whole fucking pot. Kaci Campbell from Temptation Island is here. And you guys, our stories intersect in way more fucking ways than one. So sit back, grab the bottle of tequila. Welcome to FML Talk.
Oh my God. Wait, how old was the other girl?
19. Can you believe that shit?
Hey, this is Gabrielle Stone.
Good book?
He did what? 48 hours?
What a dick.
Yeah, but have you seen all the photos on our Instagram? And this is FML Talk.
Oh, no, she didn't.
So before we dive into today's episode, I would like to take you back to episode number 4 of this podcast adventure. And you might remember that we had our scheduled guest for that episode, and her name was Morgan Lawler. And she was also on Temptation Island. And at the very last minute, she called me in a fucking panic and was like, Gabrielle, please don't air this episode, because she was afraid of her ex, who in this episode we will refer to as Ethan, and my infamous ex-husband, Daniel. And she was so freaked out that they were going to hear this episode and come after her after she had already been threatened, that I pulled the episode, and instead we ended up airing Kaylin Ward's episode, which was even more fucking insane. So for some reason, y'all haven't listened to episode 3 and 4, go back, hit pause, and listen to those before you continue. And to give you a little taste of that episode that we did not air, I'm going to play a little snippet for you right now.
We're smoking, and I don't normally smoke, and so it makes me paranoid.
Right.
Thank God it did, though.
Right.
So then he left his phone in the bathroom, and I went through it. He kept the same password like a dumbass. Mm-hmm. So I went through it and read his text messages, and for some reason I knew to go to Daniel's text messages.
Yeah. And
so I'm looking through those, and the text says, dude, I finally did it, because Daniel's in Miami. Mm-hmm. With his girls. I don't know, because he's always got several now, which is so weird to me.
Right.
But he's like, I finally did it. And he's like, no way, you fucked someone. And he's like, yeah, I had to borrow your dick pills, but I did it. And then he goes on saying that the girl's ugly in the face but has a good body, which that's the only reason that I ended up confirming everything, is because I took pictures of everything. Right. And sent that text to the girl.
Oh, and
because she lied to me at first, and then she saw that he said she was ugly.
Oh my God.
And then she told me everything.
Right.
Every single thing.
So, when the episode that we replaced it with did air, I prefaced it with the story of Morgan calling me and freaking out and deciding to pull that episode. And we did play a little one-line snippet of it before we went into the interview with Kaylin. That night, literally the night the episode dropped, I got a text from Morgan freaking out saying, what the fuck? Daniel just FaceTimed me. I'm getting texts saying, oh my God, you're on Gabrielle's podcast. We're listening to you right now. So her ex, Ethan, and my ex, Daniel, were sitting together listening to an episode of FML Talk. Are we surprised? I mean, so she was in a full-on state of panic, and it became very clear that these individuals were full-on bullying people and using scare tactics into not speaking up and speaking their truth and using their voice. And I mean, y'all know me. To that, I say, fuck you. You know, if you can dish it out and you can choose to treat people in the way that you have in the past, you best believe that chicks are going to fucking stand up and start talking about it. I mean, the amount of messages that I have gotten since this book has blown up about people with similar stories about specific individuals is wild. And of course, inevitably, I ended up getting a DM from Kaci. And Kaci's story is very different from Morgan's. So much so that she remembered me from before I wrote a book, when I was getting ready to get married. And she dropped some fucking bombs on me in this episode. After we finished recording this, we sat there for a solid 30 minutes and just like laughed at the audacity of the situation and just how insane it was. So when Kaci first DM'd me, she had started listening to the podcast and then read the book and, you know, like Morgan, was equally blown away at all of the weird similarities, reading about these people that they both knew very well in real life. And Kaci and I connected on a different level because she too was trapped in a narcissistic relationship for so long that she didn't even realize it was a narcissistic relationship. And the amount of growth that she has done and the fact that she now uses her platform to help other women figure situations like that out. And it's just really beautiful to see someone else that has gone through it all and then risen from that in such a magnificent, like, women empowering way. So I can't wait for you guys to meet her. This episode is full of fucking tea, full of inspiration and like good stuff and some shit that I was even unaware of in my own fucking marriage. So without further ado, here we go. Kaci Campbell, welcome to FML Talk.
Hello, it is so nice to meet you finally.
I know, it's so weird because like we've been, I guess, Instagram friends for a while, when our paths, the universe brought us together, but it's so nice to finally meet you in person.
I feel like I already know you, honestly. It's weird.
I know, it's going to be like a girl talk type of episode. And your fucking story, girl, I mean, we'll get into how it weirdly intersects with my life. But let's just start for people that, you know, aren't obsessed with reality TV like myself, that haven't watched Temptation Island. Give us kind of like the rundown of your experience on that show.
Just like Reader's Digest version, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, I don't know. Have you ever seen my season or any of it?
Yeah,
So
girl.
you've seen it. Okay.
And well, wait. And yes, I saw your season. And the first episode that came up, I went, holy fucking shit, I know them. Because I hadn't met you, but I damn sure knew your boyfriend at the time. Okay.
100%. So, we call him Ethan.
Yes.
So Ethan and we've been together on and off for 10 years before we broke up on Temptation Island. We were exclusive for 5. We had moved back from the big island of Hawaii to LA the year before TI, and things were not good. Like, things were all up in the air, and we'll kind of get more into that later, but things weren't good. I was not really big on Instagram at all. I wasn't into social media. I randomly got a DM from like a casting agent, and I thought it was a scam, so I almost deleted it. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just let Ethan know about it because it's not really fair. It could be a good opportunity. Let him know.
Right.
So I told him about it, and he's like, let's just see like what happens. We'll just like do the phone calls. Long story short, we fly through the casting process because they probably saw Ethan and immediately knew like what a douche canoe he is. So we got on the show.
Wait, a douche canoe. I'm dead. It's like,
No,
I need to adopt that term into my vocabulary.
Literally, like, looking back on it, because we were the first couple cast, like, weeks before everybody else. And now looking back, I'm just like, the producers were like, we landed a gold mine.
Right.
100%.
This is going to be a shit show.
It's just going to be a shit show. Because I was, like, loyal, and I'm like, I just want him to prove to me, like, he's a good guy, and, like, he's not a cheater, and, like, that all my gut feelings are like incorrect.
Right.
And so we go on to the show and we leave like on amazing terms. Like the last time I saw him, he's like, we're going to do amazing. Like, I'm going to ask you to marry me. Like, left on great terms. Okay. The other couples, not so much. Me and Ethan, we left, like, gave each other a big kiss. Everything was great. First bonfire, I don't know, you saw it. So first bonfire, we see clips, and immediately, the second I saw the clip, I was like, yep, he's cheating the whole time. Like, I knew it immediately.
And for people that don't know Temptation Island, basically they bring monogamous couples, like, in committed relationships.
That have issues, though. That
Right.
definitely, like, they're not 100% sure if this is the person you're supposed to be with forever.
Totally. So they bring couples onto the show, and then they'll also cast singles
that are looking for love, quote unquote,
right? And
which is a bunch of bullshit.
Right. And then they basically separate the couples, and the girls stay in one house and the guys stay in another house.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty much like, do you stay faithful or do you cheat with one of these singles?
And one thing that, I mean, I've made this clear, like, anyone that's been following me for a long time, my whole, like, journey and story, Ethan and I had, like, a game plan. We had rules that were specific, and our biggest rule was that, like, we're aware it's a reality TV show. No matter what we see, no matter what we hear, like, we don't believe it, and, like, we don't go all in with someone until we talk in person at the end of the show.
Oh my God.
So I stayed loyal, like, the whole time. And there was a guy on there that I had a connection with that I, like, looking back, I mean, everything happens for a reason, but, like, I would have done things differently if I didn't make that promise to Ethan.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
But you left with your fucking integrity, which
Exactly.
is way more than he can say.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of people say. They're like, just how loyal you were, and the fact, like, you stayed so strong, like, when he was doing all these things, just shows a lot about you and your character. And if I would have gone, like, all in with that guy, it wouldn't have had, like, the same result, you know?
No, absolutely.
So everything happens for a reason.
So you guys get on the show, and he starts... I don't even want to call it cheating, because that's not the right word. He jumped into a full-on relationship with someone on the show.
Immediately.
What was it like to... I mean, I remember watching the episodes where they would show you clips of what he was doing on his side of the island, and it was heartbreaking because you were such a... You could just tell, like, you had a heart of gold, and you genuinely went on to this experience to try and, like, get this man that you had committed 10 years of your life to really step up and be like, okay, this is, you know, the time. Like, let's, like, really solidify this. And to watch him, you know, completely go against all these things you had discussed and watch you kind of break little by little and week by week was so heartbreaking. What was it like to, like, witness that firsthand?
So the thing that was, like, when people watch the show, they don't realize this, but, like, I'd been trying to leave Ethan for, like, at least a year. And every time I would try to break up with him, he would have a full-blown, like, mental breakdown, would threaten things, and was like, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to do things right, and I'm going to do everything to prove to you, like, I'm the man that deserves you. Like, so going into it, I was like, this is his shot to, like, to prove that all my gut feelings are, like, wrong about him. And so then once I started seeing things, it was just such a shock because, like, I wanted to leave.
Right.
Like,
it's like, you're not going to let me break up with you, but you're going to embarrass me on national TV.
Exactly. It's like, it was just shocking. It was like an out-of-body experience, and it was like, I literally don't know who this person is. And that's so scary, like, living with someone and, like, having a life with someone and realizing, like, that they would do that to you on national television. It's wild. Like, out-of-body experience. And I was just in shock, honestly. Because also when, like, I love someone, like, I'm all in. So I was, like, all in, like, ride or die. And he was just like, fuck you.
I can't even imagine, dude. I mean, like, I obviously went through my divorce on a very much less public scale. So I can't imagine to be cheated on in such a public way and have everybody witness that when you're not even really, they keep you in the dark. Like, they show you guys clips of stuff, but they don't really, you know, you don't really know what's going on.
No, my mind was all over the place because it was shocking, number one. Number two, I didn't know what to believe because, like, again, we're on a reality show.
Yeah, they manipulate everything. I actually read my contract, so they can make anything look like anything. Right.
So meanwhile, I'm like, okay, is he cheating? Is he not? Like, am I being manipulated? There's this other single guy, like, I have a connection with. My mind was all over the place. I just like every day I was just like, Kaci, just keep it together and don't have an actual psychotic breakdown on national television.
Right.
Like every day.
I must say that you carried yourself so well with like what was going on.
Ugh.
I mean, you had so much grace, and even at the last bonfire,
God.
they bring the couples back together finally, and then you can choose, do you want to leave the island together and try and work on your relationship? Do you want to leave the island separately, or do you want to leave the island with someone else?
Yeah.
Ethan was the only person that chose to leave the island with someone else.
Yeah.
Everybody else was like, I'm leaving alone, or we're leaving together, or whatever.
Yeah.
What was that like hearing that?
So again, back to like before we started filming, me and him, like we had a game plan, we had rules. One of the things was like, if him or me, it wasn't just about him, if him or I have a real connection with someone and like fall for someone, like we've been together for so long and like are part of each other's families, that like we're gonna respect each other and go home and break up like off camera.
Yeah.
So I, like at my overnight date, I was thinking I was gonna break up with him, like, but then I was like, you know what, I need to like keep my promise, because I owe that to him, I owe that to his family.
Right. For
anyone that knows, like Ethan's family has already been through a lot in the public eye, so I was like thinking of his brothers. I'm like, I can't embarrass him like that on TV. So I kept my freaking promise.
Yep.
And then this dude freaking told me that, so I like broke down, because I was just, again, just blown away and in absolute shock. Like, and I've only watched it once, that clip, but I have full-blown PTSD from it. I'll never watch it again.
I mean, I can imagine that, dude.
It's nuts, especially because I'm like such a calm, like confident, composed person, and like I really lost my shit in front of the world. And it was like,
but rightfully so.
No, that's what all my friends say too,
yeah.
because I was mortified, because that's not like me. Like my normal self, I'm not an emotional person. Like that's like the most emotion on TI that I've like ever shown in my life. Like in my life.
You're like, and of course it had to happen for the world to see.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So you guys leave the island separate.
Oh God.
And he leaves with the girl that he falls for.
Yep.
Who, for everyone that's listening, we do know.
Yes, we do.
So if you take it back to the earlier episodes when I had Kaylin Ward on, she was in place of Morgan's episode. Mm-hmm. So Morgan was the girl that ended up leaving Temptation Island with Ethan.
Yes.
And then was so terrified of what might happen if we aired her episode, asked me to pull it. And we did. And we aired a snippet of it. You can go back to episode 4 to listen to all that drama. But you ended up linking up with her once things fell apart with her and Ethan?
So long Reader's Digest version, because it's been like years of craziness. But basically, when I left the island, like after I had that breakdown, I got in the Escalade, me and Ethan, like I was literally never going to speak to this dude ever again. Like ever. So I didn't text him. I didn't call him, nothing. I just went to my hotel room and just, that was it for me. And then my birthday was like 3 days after we filmed, and he's,
oh my God, happy birthday.
I know, right? He's blowing up my phone, okay, nonstop. So begging to see me, begging to come over. And meanwhile, he's with her the whole time.
Right.
Long story short, his family got involved. They're like, you guys live together, you have pets together, you have to see him. He came over. He basically said he's like doubting what he did. He doesn't know what he did. He feels like he's manipulated, da-da-da-da-da-da. So then he tells me that he's going to go to Virginia and break up with her in person. And then he's going to come back to LA, and we're going to like go to therapy and like live separately, da-da-da-da.
Stop.
Swear to God, the last time I saw him, this like still makes me like cringe to this day. Ugh. He like he's leaving to go to the airport, and he gives me like a hug and kisses me on top of the head, and he's like, we always find our way back to each other, like don't worry.
Oh my God, puke.
Puke. Like disgusting.
It's just so fucking manipulative.
It's unbelievable. And that's like a tiny little dose of like
I bet.
The psychoness.
Okay, so then he goes to Virginia?
So he goes to Virginia, and then he's texting me the whole time he's there. Basically just like I don't know. I was still like very much manipulated, and now looking back, I'm like so embarrassed. But he's texting me nonstop, telling me he's going to come back, da-da-da. one day I get a text and he breaks up with me again in a text message. So at that point, I was like, I can't even explain it. It was literally like the light switch was on and then it was immediately like off, like done. I just literally responded. I was like, okay, period.
Right.
This dude harassed me for months, from like October, the middle of October up to New Year's Eve. And New Year's Eve, he sent me this like crazy novel and I responded to it the next day and I still have the text. Like, I like ripped this dude a new a-hole. Like, I will never hear from him again. There's no way. Like, people have seen it. They're just like, holy shit, you ruined this guy's life. That text will haunt him forever.
Good, dude.
So,
sometimes that's what they need.
no, it felt so good. I've never heard from him again. So after that, I stopped hearing from him. He wasn't blocked yet. And him and Morgan, all through all through the show airing, they were basically cyberbullying me and harassing me. They would do lives for like hours.
Oh my God, Morgan too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, it was bad. Like, it was to the point where my dad is an attorney and we were going to like pursue like character defamation.
Wow.
They were spreading lies, saying I was suicidal, like all sorts of crazy stuff. So it was really bad. So then a whole year goes by and he does all the same stuff to her, like living off of her, all sorts of stuff, leaves her, tries to steal her engagement ring in the middle of the night, leaves her in Virginia. Yeah, like crazy stuff. Like, she has the YouTube videos on it. We can't, it's like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
She has the audacity to reach out to me. Okay. Like, first off, she didn't even reach out to me. She reached out to like my mutual friends, because it's like a small circle.
Right.
And they were like, is it okay if we give her your number? And at first I was like, no, like, no way. Like, she did this to herself. Like, she could have listened to me, like, at the beginning when I was rooting for her and, like, trying to help her out. But no, she did this to herself. And then I thought about it and just, like, my character and who I am as a person. Like, I just felt like it was the right thing to do, to just, like, be there for her. Because not a lot of people know what it's like being with someone. And again, I'm not a doctor, no diagnosing here. But, like, with my experience, not a lot of people know what it's like being with a narcissist or someone with issues like that. So I wanted to be there for her. She reached out to me. I wouldn't let her call me. So she texted me and she just like poured her heart out and just like had a million questions. And I was really there for her for like a few months. And then I started noticing some red flags. So I started noticing LA, small town. She's like hanging out with him. I heard they're hooking up. And again, I don't care, like totally over him. Do you, girl? But it was like the lying that was like adding up. And I'm just like, I can't deal with the lying. So I told her and I haven't talked to her since, I want to say like almost a year now.
That's really big of you to just at all, speak to the person and support and be there for someone who literally was the woman that your boyfriend left you on national television for.
Yeah, and like that I don't even care about. Like, it's weird. I'm upset with Ethan over that. The thing that was like, I feel big of me with her is like, she didn't even know me. She didn't even know the full story, but she heard my podcast. She knew lots of it, and she continued to bully and harass me on the internet for like a year, like relentlessly. Wow. So that was where it was like me and my family and my friends, like my family and friends were pissed at me when I was talking to her and being kind to her. They're like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
But
it's clear, for me, when I sat down to do that episode with her and she was like, all the things that she was saying about Ethan and how terrible he was to her and like these shocking things that are so inexcusable.
Yeah.
It's wild to see that someone can go through the same thing and then not, decide to make different decisions with that person.
Yeah, that's the thing that blows my mind the most, because it's like, I feel like with me and Ethan, I was so blindsided because I really had to be a detective. Like, I had to learn it on my own and get blindsided on national television. Like, I didn't have hardcore solid proof and like witnesses that have like come forward. An ex-girlfriend that he was with for a decade had like a life together, telling you like this person has serious problems. Like, it will never go anywhere.
Yeah.
And she was just like, nah, I'm just gonna still mess around with him super like publicly.
Right.
Like,
and what were some of the things that when she was pouring her heart out to you, were there things that she said that you were like, yeah, I recognize all of these things and he did all of these things.
Oh, yeah. No, I think the thing that shocked her the most, well, two things that shocked her the most, is absolutely nothing that she was telling me was surprising me.
Right.
And she thought, you could tell, like, she thought it was going to surprise me. And I was like, girl, like, been there, done that.
Yeah.
I told you. I've been saying it for years. I've been nothing but honest.
Yeah.
So that was number one. And then I think the other thing that she was really shocked about, which it's like, he's a pathological liar. Like, why would you believe anything he says? She was really shocked, like, how real our life was together. Like, that was one thing. Like, I mean, like, vacations, holidays with my family. Like, we had pets together. Like, we had a full-blown, like, life. And that she was, like, really shocked about. Like, before we started filming, we had a going-away party with all of his friends from USC, who I'm still friends with to this day. And he was telling all of them he was going to propose to me on the show.
Oh, my God, I can't.
Yeah. So, like, stuff like that, like, she was really, I think, shocked by.
Do you think that's because he was downplaying your relationship to her?
He was basically saying that I was, like, suicidal. He was trying to leave me for years. I was just sticking around. He was trying, just...
All the while, he was convincing you to stay when you were trying to leave. I mean... Look, I'm not a doctor either, but if that's not a fucking narcissist, like, I don't know what it is.
No, trust me, I've done a lot of research, talked to a lot of therapists.
Yeah.
It's some crazy shit.
Okay, so let's pivot. Because, like I said earlier, when I turned on the first episode of Temptation Island, I was sitting down to just, like, you know, have a glass of wine and get into my guilty pleasures of reality TV. And on comes Ethan. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that dude was at my wedding.
Oh, Lord.
I had seen pictures of you on his Instagram. I had known Ethan because he had become friends with Daniel probably... I don't know, 2 or 3, maybe 4 months before our wedding. They had met at the gym and they were like fucking, you know, workout buddies or whatever. So my mouth dropped open when you guys came on the screen and was like, wait, I fucking know these people.
Small world.
So I'm sure the way that I knew about you, you probably knew about me to some capacity.
I 100% knew a lot about you.
Great. Let's hear about all those things that I have no idea what's coming.
Oh, God. I'm, like, nervous. Well,
it's okay. Trust me. Anything you can say, nothing at this point can shock nor hurt me. It's like, we're so far past that.
Okay, good. That's how I am about Ethan. Like, whenever people tell me another crazy thing he's, like, lied about, I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
like, add it to the list.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so, I was just, like, sticking around in our relationship, but I actually lived in his family home for, like, 7 months with my best friend, Coley. And we were, like, not renting their home, but they lived in Hawaii, and I was watching their dog that they weren't able to ship yet. So I was living in his family home with my best friend, and Ethan and Daniel would come over all the time, and we would hang out and just, like, vibe or whatever. And I remember specifically Daniel, would vent about your relationship and about the wedding planning. And it was to the point where, like, me, Ethan, and Ethan's younger brother, we were all like, why are you getting married?
Oh my God, wait, what would he say? Tell me what he would say.
We were like, why are you getting married? Like, this doesn't sound like this is, like, a good idea. And da-da-da-da. And basically what he was saying is that he was spending a fortune on you.
I'm dead.
And your wedding.
I'm dead.
Like, literally, like, that you kept going and, like, you weren't happy with one wedding dress, so you went back and got a new wedding dress, and that was another $15,000. And yeah, dude, it was like...
I wish you guys could see my mouth. It's just on the floor. So let's just clear the air here real quick. My mother paid for our entire wedding.
Okay, I pause really quick. I just, like, my own, like, because I'm an observer,
right?
And I observe and I listen. I felt back even then, I was like, this doesn't add up, because I know who your mom is,
right?
And I'm like, and he has, like, no money. Daniel has, so I'm like, it doesn't add up.
Okay, so
no.
First of all, okay, let's just unpack all of this real quick. My mom, yes, is an actress, but, like, by no means is she rich, like, at all. And she's been a single parent her whole life.
Yeah.
She worked her fucking ass off to pay for our wedding.
Yeah.
And she did. She paid for all of it by herself. His parents put in $7,000. That was to go for whatever, like, rehearsal, you know, part to the honeymoon, like, you know, whatever. And, like, I guess, thank you for that.
Oh, we got to talk about the honeymoon too.
Oh, dude.
Okay.
Dude. So he didn't pay any of his own money for our wedding. Like, not a dime. So if he was venting about the stuff, about the finances that were going out
nonstop,
that was booking, you know, the Four Seasons Westlake to go have sex with Laurel and, you know, going and having a fucking affair and flying off to Miami. That was not for our wedding. Like, he was not spending shit for our wedding. My mom paid for my whole dress.
It was literally
what? Unreal.
It was nonstop. He was complaining about how much, like, it's a fortune for him.
Unreal.
So I was just like thinking, I'm like, because at that time I barely knew Daniel, and I was just like, you know what? Like, why would you like marry someone that's like doing that? Like, that doesn't sound right. And then like 2 days before, he was saying how he's like in panic mode and doesn't want to go through with it.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do it, bro? Like, come on. It would have saved me so much fucking. Well, I mean, like, thank God you did, because look where we are. But like, Jesus.
Everything happens for a reason.
Big time.
And like, you wouldn't have like your book and all that if it wasn't for that, you know? But for real, I was so confused. And then Ethan and Ethan's younger brother go to the wedding, and they basically said it was like the most gorgeous wedding ever, but it was like a freaking Gabrielle show. And yeah, no, it was really crazy. So I always like, I'm the type of person, until I meet someone and I'm able to make my own judgment, like, I'm not going to make a judgment on someone. But from what I heard from Ethan and Daniel, like, it was hard for me to think that you were a good person.
Oh my God, I'm blown away.
Yeah.
The Gabrielle show. Was that because
and
I did a fucking flash dance that was for him that he was like overjoyed about, or like what? I don't know. I can't even.
You can't even like make sense of how their minds work, because they're living in another galaxy.
Right.
Like, they're not on planet Earth.
Yeah. It was also so weird that they were even at our wedding in the first place, because they had been like gym buddies for fucking a couple months, and he was like adamant that they came to the wedding. I was like, okay, dude.
And
sure.
this is the thing, is like, because I always thought it was weird too, because Ethan would like choose Daniel over his like friends that like had been in his life for like years and years. And like, one of his friends specifically actually has like a huge issue with Daniel. And Ethan would just like choose Daniel, and just like, Daniel can do no wrong, and I didn't get it. But now that I know everything that I know and how similar they are, they're like a perfect partner in crime. Like, literally, like, they like lie for each other, they cover for each other. It's like
Morgan said a lot about that too.
They finally found someone else that like knows their bullshit and is okay with it and will cover for their bullshit. You know? So it was like match made in heaven.
Oh my God. I'm blown away. Like, why would you just not get married, dude?
I know.
Save everybody the headache. Okay, and then you said, let's talk about the honeymoon.
Oh, God. So, yeah, he said he spent, like, I don't know, like 50 grand on your honeymoon.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Mind you, I don't know if it was exactly 50 grand. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said it was an astronomical amount of money.
Okay, so first of all, we stayed at the Four Seasons, or not,
Bora
sorry,
Bora,
not the Four
right?
Seasons, St. Regis in Bora Bora.
Yep.
An incredible hotel. My mom had met someone at an event, and she was a fan of hers, and she had mentioned that we were wanting to go to Bora Bora for our honeymoon. And the woman was like, oh my God, I'm a rep there. Let me get you guys a deal. Tell your daughter to call me. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, okay, a deal at, you know, St. Regis, like, we're still not going to be able to afford that.
Yeah.
I call her, and she's like, well, we have the overwater huts that, you know, I know you want to stay in. They start at $1,500 a night. I can give you guys 2 nights for free, $500 a night after that. I was like, great, we'll be there for a week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're like 100%.
So, first of all, and okay, the way we did our wedding registry was that we registered for experiences at the resort.
Yeah.
So like, people were buying like snorkeling, and people were buying dinner at this place. We both spent money in the honeymoon, but like, did he spend an astronomical amount?
He said it was all him.
100% no.
He said like, you were making him go broke.
I cannot. I mean, I'm so glad that like this is the story he convinced himself of. Like, good for you on that front, because you really committed. But like, bro, I have the literal receipts of things that my mother paid for, things that our wedding guests paid for. Like, come on.
It's insane. And that's the thing that like both of them, I think, forget, because again, they're in their own universe. It's like there's hardcore proof.
Right.
Like, you know, like you can't lie about such large things, because like to this day, like, and I feel almost weird saying this, but whatever, it is what it is. Like, I'm so scared that like one day I'm gonna have to like show proof to people.
Yeah.
Because like Ethan's just so unpredictable that to this day I still have screenshots. And not only do I have the screenshots, I've sent them to my dad.
Yeah.
He has screenshots.
Like multiple
my
places.
best friend has the screenshots.
Yep.
Like everyone has them in case I need to unleash one day.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm the same way. Like, I went back when I was writing Eat, Pray, FML, and I took out certain things that I know were true, but I didn't have physical, like, in-hand proof of, just in case anything ever happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can see from talking to you and how you talk about it, you're the same way I am. Like, it's so long ago. We're so far removed from it now. They really are just like characters in our story. But like, boys, because I know you're listening, but truly, because when we aired the episode that Morgan's snippet was on, she got a DM from Ethan being like, what the fuck, we're listening to you on Gabrielle's podcast now.
No, they watch and listen.
It's
everything
wild
that we do
to me.
100%.
So again, Daniel, please, like, open invitation. I would love to have you come sit on this couch with me and sit down and have a chat. I think it would be
phenomenal.
hysterical to like recount the epic downfall of our marriage. Anyways, but it's so wild to look back and see the growth that's come from it all. Because I mean, me personally, you know, you're saying 2 days before he was having this like panic attack, and I'm like, why didn't you, you know, just like not do it and save us all this fucking hassle? But I wouldn't have changed a thing. Yeah. Like, I am so happy to be where I'm at now. And the relationship I had with Daniel taught me so many fucking things. Like, it taught me, first of all, what a narcissist is, and like about sociopathic tendencies, and how I was being gaslit into, you know, like, he would look at me and be like, don't wear a fucking sports bra to the gym, you look like a slut. Yeah. And then ended up with someone who's like half naked all the time. Yeah. It's like, you really had to like reprogram your mental shit to be like, okay, this wasn't my fault, and I'm not this person that they made me feel. So tell me about some of the things, some of the trauma that Ethan left on you, and how you have like rectified and like grown from that.
Honestly, if anyone that like knew me before, like my close like core group of girlfriends and like family, I'm a completely different human, like without Ethan. Like, the saddest part about being with Ethan, and that my family and friends like have told me now that we're like so open about it, is they saw me like literally disintegrate over time. Like, I'm such like a confident person, and around Ethan, I was just like walking on eggshells. I wasn't myself. Like, I wasn't doing things that I like believed in. I wasn't myself. I was just like walking on eggshells and just trying to survive. And I think exactly what you just said, you wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing either, because without that experience, I wouldn't be who I am today. And it was so painful and like so traumatic. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of people that wouldn't be able to survive what I went through. Yeah. Like, it was pretty dark for a while, but without that, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I'm so happy, and I'm so free, and I'm so at peace. And like, I'm helping people literally all over the world, like, get out of similar situations, and like explaining things to people, and just like knowing your worth, and knowing that you don't need to put up with any of that nonsense. And you also don't need to be with a man. Like, you can just like thrive on your own. And like, I've never been happier, and this is the longest I've ever been single.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I can literally, you can see a physical difference from when you started on the show to now. You don't look like the same person. No. And it's a visual representation of what toxicity in your life can do to you, and what happens when you remove that toxicity and are able to like grow and thrive. Yeah.
One thing that when I was with Ethan, that now with men, like when I'm dating and talking to people, it's like a huge like gut feeling with me. I used to get anxiety around Ethan all the time, to the point I couldn't eat, and I would be like shivering, like my whole body would have shivers, like literally like teeth chattering. And now it's been almost 2 years, and like that never happens to me anymore. Wow. Like, I literally like never, like, I never lose my appetite. Like, I'm always able to eat food. I never get that anxiety, that teeth chattering. And that was actually one thing on TI with that one single that I connected with. The thing that was like so like eye-opening to me is that I could talk to him about anything. I could like literally cry on this dude's shoulder, and like I never had anxiety. And like this was like very vivid. On our overnight, we went like on our break, and we had like a lunch break, and I'm going through the most traumatic thing in my entire life. Okay. I weigh like 90 pounds. My anxiety's through the roof. I could eat a whole freaking meal in front of this dude. And it was like an immediate, like a light bulb.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit. Like I can eat in the most traumatic part of my life in front of this guy, and I can't eat in everyday life in front of Ethan. Like that's a problem. Like that's not normal.
Huge problem.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Have you been in a relationship since Ethan?
So I've definitely dated a few guys, but just no one that I just like, no one is the one. Like
Right.
I just know, like.
Right. No, but I'm curious to know if like any of the trauma that was a product of your relationship with Ethan, have you seen that that's shown up in any way? Like with like trust issues or boundary issues? Like, has there been anything where you're like, this is directly derived from my relationship with Ethan?
Like, again, back to the guy that I connected with on TI, we like were talking a lot and like afterwards, and I just feel like my guard was just up so high.
Yeah.
That it just like in a way ruined that connection, because he would like try to get close to me, or just like my guard is just up. Like up high.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore, because that was like 2 years ago, and
Well, it was
like,
really fresh.
yeah, it was very fresh and stuff. But yeah, like my guard is definitely up, because it's like when you're with a narcissist and you realize, like, I think the most painful thing is just realizing like none of it was real.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like for me, like when I love someone, like I'm all in, and it's like ride or die, and like I give you my all, and like we're a team. And for me to like give my all like that, especially when I don't say I love you easily. Like it's not like, I think that's another reason why I've been single for so long, because I don't feel like that for people very easily. So once you do that with someone, and then you realize it's like all not real, and it's like you literally don't know the person that you were sleeping next to for like years, like
Years
that's
and years.
terrifying.
Yeah.
So I don't ever like, I'm scared that's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
Until like I totally heal myself and don't attract men like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought that up. So I've been really open about my fear of abandonment from growing up, and losing people. And that's been like my big thing to heal. And I, more recently discovered that all of the relationships that I was attracting into my life were mirroring that fear in some way. So when I was with Daniel, he never really made me feel safe. He would always, have a problem with me being on set, or it was always like whenever a fight would happen, I didn't feel safe or taken care of. And then after the fact, he would be like, oh, let me buy you something. Let me take you, somewhere. Let's go to dinner, whatever. And then the ultimate form of abandonment came when he, was in, look, there were multiple relationships, but the biggest one was obviously with Laurel. And, I was the one that filed for divorce, but that was after, the biggest form of abandonment came with cheating in a marriage. And then I attracted Javier after that, who quite literally abandoned me 48 hours before I was getting on a plane.
So crazy.
And it wasn't until I went and fixed those traumas that were inside of me that I was able to attract a really healthy relationship with someone who has never touched those triggers. And I never feel like I have to question if I'm going to be abandoned or not. So it's so important when people go through these like narcissistic relationships and relationships that really fuck with you and tear you down and like you lose yourself in, to know that you have to fix those things before you jump into something else, because they're not going to fix them for you.
100%. Because I think like unless you've been in a relationship with someone like that, it's hard for you to understand and like grasp the type of just like long-term like issues. Like I never, like if you were to told me like 10 years ago that I would like have PTSD from a relationship, like I would have been like, fuck off. Like there's no way. Like, but it's totally 100% legit. And you're 100% right, until you heal that stuff. And like, you have to kind of go to a dark place and be like, what do I need to fix with myself before you can ever be with someone else? Because if you keep jumping into relationships, like, you're just going to ruin every single relationship because of all the trauma that you've already been through.
Completely. Or you're going to attract people that are shitty mirrors of that are going to hurt you.
Exactly.
So I know that you've been very like open about your story, and I've watched, you know, for months now on your social media, the types of DMs that you get from people, and people really connected with your story on Temptation Island because you were so vulnerable and authentic, and that really came through. And I think that's hard to do on reality TV. And so what's it been like knowing that, you know, you have women reaching out to you from all over the world to get advice and to say that like your story has helped change the way that they're acting in their relationships now?
So the biggest thing when I was with Ethan, I always felt like very alone and like being gaslit like every day for years. Like, you legit feel crazy. Like, I thought I was the problem, like 100%. Like, I thought I needed therapy. I thought I was losing my mind. Like, I thought I was the narcissist. Okay.
Right.
And so just the fact that like my story and just being so open and honest about it, even though it's like been very hard, and like there are haters, there are people that are like, you just want attention or you're stuck in the past. It's like, no, it's so much bigger than that.
Right.
It's like, there's people that before my story came around and before my social media, I was so open about it, they felt the same way. They felt alone. They felt crazy. They didn't understand it, because unless you're in it, you don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's been really rewarding, because there's so many, I mean, like every day, like a new person is just like, I need advice, or like, I left him finally, and like, I got my own apartment and I'm thriving because of you. It's like, what's the next step? And it's just very rewarding, because such a positive thing came out of such a negative thing.
Totally.
And it's like, if I'm going to go through what I went through on national television, it's like, it might as well help other people, you know?
Yeah. I think that's why you and I connected so quickly, because it was like the biggest, toughest, most tragic time in our life really thrust us into this space where we're now able to like help and connect with other people.
100%. And it's like, it's a very unnatural thing for me, honestly. Like, I'm actually a very private person. So that's why like my family and friends, like after TI and I was like opening up to them about stuff, they were like shocked by the stuff I was telling them, because I'd never told a soul.
Right.
So talking about this stuff like on podcasts, like this is probably my, I don't know, 40 or 50th one I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's very like out of character for me, but it's like, I almost don't have a choice, because this is just what happened in my life.
Yeah. And,
you know?
And like better to share your story and have other people heal from it. So what can you tell women or men that are listening that are stuck in a narcissistic relationship? Like, what would you tell them? Because we've talked about on past episodes how hard it is when you're in it to like see and recognize the signs.
Yeah.
What would you say to people that are trying to get out of a bad situation like that?
I have a few things. So number one, actually, because we always talk about like men being narcissists, but there's been a lot of men that have reached out to me where their girlfriend or fiance has been one too. So it can happen to men as well. It's not just like a woman thing. And then number two, listen to your gut. Like that's like you gotta listen to your gut, because there's so many times, I mean countless times over the past few years, the last few years of me and Ethan, where my gut was telling me like, you gotta run for the freaking hills. Like this is not normal. And then I would get in my head and then convince myself like, no, like this is just your anxiety talking. You're overthinking it. Like there's no way you're actually with a narcissist. Like, you know, like your gut, we're mammals, you know, like our gut is going to warn us when something's wrong.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that comes back to the bottom line is believe people when they show you who they are. So if people are showing you, like, if they're not treating you properly, if they're doing things where you're like, that's definitely fucking wrong, or that's for sure a red flag, like, don't excuse them.
No.
Like, believe people when they show you who the fuck they are.
Yeah. And I think the other big thing, and a lot of people have told me this when they reach out to me, if you, and we talked about this very briefly, but if you ever find yourself like Googling like narcissism, sociopaths, I mean, that's like, it's done. Like, the second you Google something like that, it's time to leave, because any normal, healthy, loving relationship, that thought is never even going to cross your mind.
Right.
Like, that's not normal. Leave. And then I think the most important thing, which hopefully Morgan will eventually learn, and anyone else who's kind of stuck in the cycle, because I was stuck in the cycle for a long time, where like we would break up and then he would charm me back, and break up and charm me back, and I kept trying to leave and he kept charming me freaking back. But I finally broke the cycle, and it's because of two things. Number one, you have to realize, like, no matter how hard it is to accept it, there's absolutely nothing that you can do or say to change that person and to make them healthy. Like, nothing. Like, I did it all for this man. Like, everything that you can imagine, I was there for him in every aspect, shape, form. They're never going to change. It is who they are. It's a lost cause. They're a broken human. Right. On to the next.
Well, until they do the work on themselves. Yeah.
Which even huge. Then, it's going to take a lot of, like, a come to Jesus moment.
Right.
Okay. Like, it's a lost cause. Yeah. Like, in my opinion. The only way to stop the cycle as well is absolutely no contact.
Yes.
I can't stress it enough. I know it's hard, because with a normal, healthy individual, it's fine. Like, I'm actually friends with all my exes, like, besides Ethan. Like, we're cool. They wish me happy birthday. If I saw them in person, give them a hug. Ethan. You have no choice. Like, people that haven't been in relationships like this, they may think it's petty, or like, I'm still like upset that because he's blocked on everything. No. But no, like, they have to be blocked on everything. Phone numbers, family members. I mean, like, 100% no contact, because the second they like can get in, they'll try to weasel you back. Yeah.
No, that's not petty. That's fucking taking care of your mental health.
You have to.
I remember when I first, went through the divorce, and I blocked Daniel on everything, just because I was like done and needed to, like, I didn't want him seeing my life. I was just like over it. And I didn't do family members.
Oh, I did them all.
And his mother reached out to me on Facebook and was like, please don't tell anyone that I'm messaging you right now, but da-da-da-da-da. And started, like, writing me this whole thing. And I was just like, look, I wish you nothing but the best, but I can't do this. Like, I am done with him. I am done with his family. Like, we are, and I think that's so important. Even if it's not a toxic relationship, if you are fucking heartbroken in general, in any way, that's how you start to heal. Is 100%. Like, stop looking at their social media, stop fucking reaching out, stop letting them, like, breadcrumb and text you, like, little bits and pieces here and there. Like, just fucking cut it down.
Yeah. No, that's actually, that's one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn. Like, even after the show, different guys that I had really strong feelings for, as soon as I feel like it's breadcrumbing me, it's like, I'm sorry if it's petty, but, like, I'm unfollowing you. Like, like, it is what it is. Like, I can't deal with the games. It's like, unless you are all in and make it clear you're all in, like, don't waste my time.
But that's what protecting your fucking peace is. It's like, I'm going to take care of my mental health. I don't give a shit if you think it's, like, petty or childish or whatever. I'm protecting my fucking peace.
And right now, in, like, this generation and, like, how society is, people care so much about social media and what it appears to be. And everyone's like, oh my God, like, they unfollowed each other. She must be so upset, or like, da-da-da. It's like, who cares? Like, people need to stop putting so much, like, emphasis on social media. It's like, you need to just put yourself number one always. Like, who gives a shit if people think it's weird that they're blocked on everything or you unfollowed each other? It's like, I've never felt peace like this in my life. So I'm going to do anything and everything I can to remain feeling peaceful.
Fuck yes, girl. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, tell everybody where they can follow you. On that social media note.
Right into social media. So on Instagram, it's at call me Case, call me KAC.
Awesome. And you post some really great shit.
Yay.
Like,
people like my stories.
I've enjoyed following you, and you're really engaging with everybody. Thank you for, it was so funny because the way, you and I have been connected for a while now, but the way you actually ended up sitting on the podcast today,
I know,
was because one of my FMLers DM'd me and they were like, I feel like you would totally vibe with Kaci, blah, blah, blah. You should have her on the podcast. And I was like, I know Kaci. We've talked before. Like, she is in fact awesome and we do vibe. But we've always been a little trepidatious because our exes are BFFs.
It's like
opening that door for, they're gonna, like hear it and feel some type of way about it.
Yep.
But I'm glad that you came and we got to sit here and do this, because besides all of like the crazy jaw-dropping moments that like the way that our lives intersect, it's really about how we've come out the other end and healed from it and what we've learned from it, and being able to share that with other people is like the biggest fucking gift.
100%. A blessing in disguise.
Yeah, right. The biggest disguise. Thank you for being here, girl.
Thank you.
I want to thank Kaci for coming on. We had been in contact on social media for quite a while now, and it was awesome to finally sit down face to face and chat with her about everything. I know how many people from Temptation Island have followed her journey and her story and really have been able to heal from the stuff that she's spoken out about and the stuff that she's been through. And I'm really just fucking proud of her as a female who really went through a ringer of a relationship to come out so much better. I mean, you can even see it in past photos to now, like what a fucking glow up she has had. So cheers to you, girl. So you all know that we're doing this subscription-based party of the podcast now, where you get 10% off your merch and all these awesome extra mini uncut bonus episodes and access to the Self-Love Facebook group, which is now this like awesome kick-ass community of people. But we've decided that we are going to release Morgan's episode on the subscription page with Morgan's permission, of course. It is now officially available for you guys to hear the episode that we were never able to originally air. To hear that, you go to patreon.com/FML Talk. It's a doozy, y'all. Okay, we are going to switch gears into just one FML story because it was so good, it needed its own little solo moment. Here we go.
Hey, Gabrielle, so you'll never guess what happened. My mom gives me a call one night and she's like, I have the funniest thing to show you in the morning. I have to show this to you in person. I was like, okay, great. Next morning comes and my mom shows up at my house and she's like, Juan, my baby daddy, texted me last night at 3 a.m. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, what did he say? And she's like, I can't even tell you what he said. Here. She shows me her phone and my mom received not one, but 2 very close-up dick pics from my baby dad and a message that says, hey, just got home. Let me bend you over later. I could have died for secondhand embarrassment for him. We've been separated for about a year now, and he's very close with my mom. He asks her all sorts of things. She does his taxes and everything, so it's not unlike him to text her. Apparently, the story goes that he was drunk and is talking to some girl that has a name that's similar to my mom's, and he accidentally sent those pictures to my mom instead of the girl that he's now seeing. So now my mom definitely knows exactly what I was working with while we were together and knows way too much about my baby daddy. He is so embarrassed and feels super bad, but it was probably the funniest thing that's happened in so freaking long.
Oh my fucking God. So this particular FML story, I actually heard for the first time in person. And I won't say who it was, but it's someone that's in my life. And she was telling me the story and I looked at her, I was like, girl, you have to fucking submit this for the show. Oh my God. I know my mother, I can't even fathom what she would do if one of my boyfriends or ex-boyfriends sent her a freaking dick pic. Like, oh my God, the embarrassment that man must feel. And like, you know, that's your kid's grandmother. So it's not like you're never seeing her again. Oh my God. I cannot. It's like out of a movie. It's so bad. Thank you for fucking submitting that, girl. It made me laugh just as hard the second time. Next week, you guys, I am so excited to bring this guest on. I am thrilled that she came on to do an interview with me on FML Talk. You probably know her from TV shows like Nip Tuck and 90210. I worked with her on a film that I did a couple years back. Her name is Annalyn McCord. She is a brilliant actress and activist and mental health advocate. Her story is absolutely inspiring and heavy and phenomenal, and the things she has overcome in this life is really, really inspiring. And most recently, she has been in the news quite a bit for coming out with her diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder. And she talks a lot about mental health, trying to break down that stigma around it. And it's a really captivating interview. I cannot wait for you guys to hear it and meet her. As always, make sure you are subscribed so you never miss an episode. Keep up with us on Instagram at FML Talk Podcast for all the behind the scenes goodies. And until next time, have a self-love cocktail on me. Or like 3 after this fucking episode. Cheers.